Bruh, something wild been hiding in plain sight. Sexyy Red didn't just go viral. She didn't just pop off. This whole thing was built like a science project. Funded, tested, pushed, and controlled by people who ain't never lived a day in the culture they profit off.
You don't know nothing about.
And now the experiment is falling apart right in front of us. I'm talking billionaires, tech executives, Apple insiders, industry gatekeepers, all investing heavy into one artist who was never meant to last. So today, I'm breaking down how Sexyy Red was engineered, why she got the biggest push in the industry, and what made the whole system crash so fast. And trust me, once you see the blueprint, you're gonna look at the music industry completely different. See, on the surface, it looked like Sexyy Red just caught one. Pound Town blew up, Nicki hopped on the remix, Drake gave her a look, the internet grabbed her, and boom, superstar. But let me break this down slow for you. Her rise didn't move like a regular come up. Nah, this moved like a rollout. Like somebody upstairs said, push this one hard. Everything hit at the same exact time. Radio, TikTok, features, interviews, algorithm placement. Like the whole machine suddenly remembered she existed and turned the make her famous switch all the way up. And here's what really caught my attention.
Whoop, whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Every controversy she had somehow boosted her more. Teacher drama, viral. School incident, viral. Accidental tape leak, viral again. When chaos keeps benefiting someone, that's when I start going, hold up, bruh. Someone is orchestrating this. Real organic blow-ups don't look this synchronized. This looked intentional, and that's where the story starts. Before y'all even knew who she was, the industry already circled her name in red ink. Rebel Music scooped her up early, right? That part everybody knows. But here's the thing. Labels don't just sign talent. They sign personalities they can monetize. You think they didn't peep the interviews, the wild aura, the shock factor, the say anything, do anything type of energy? Bruh, that's gold to them. That's what they dream about.
You smell that? What is that?
What?
What's that smell?
Opportunity.
No, money.
Oh, okay.
I smell money.
And when her A&R said he knew she was a star the moment she got off the plane, yeah, okay, buddy. Ain't nobody that prophetic. What he meant was she fits the profile we've been looking for. Unfiltered, loud, sexual, controversial, no boundaries. That's the checklist. And when an artist fits that checklist, labels don't just push them, they weaponize them. Sexyy Red wasn't discovered. She was picked. Because she was easy to brand into something extreme. Now here's where it gets crazy. Because Sexyy Red didn't just blow up with sexual lyrics. She blew up with a blueprint older than slavery itself. The Jezebel stereotype. The idea that black women are only valuable when they're sexual, reckless, uncontrollable. The industry repackaged that into a 2023 marketing plan. Every rollout step matched the stereotype perfectly. Explicit lyrics, explicit visuals, explicit persona, controversy is branding, self-deprecation dressed as confidence. They didn't market her as an artist. They marketed her as a symbol, a stereotype with a beat behind it. And the industry loves this stereotype because it's profitable, cheap to produce, easy to meme, guaranteed to spark arguments, guaranteed to go viral. And they pushed it heavy on the youngest, most impressionable audience. Black girls who didn't know they were watching a character built in a boardroom. And bro, once you really zoom out, it becomes obvious. Every scandal hit at the perfect time, like the universe was running PR for her. But let's be real, this wasn't the universe. This was the industry strategy. Kids singing Pound Town, viral gold. A teacher begging parents to stop playing her music, even more gold.
That's heart-wrenching. It's horrifying. It is horrifying. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town? I'm playing them and they are asking me, can we hear Pound? And I'm so scared for these little girls today because this is the most insane agenda push I have ever seen in my life. We do freeze dance. You guys' daughters are twerking at 5. Where's the parenting? Where's the boundaries? Where's the help? Y'all are not helping your kids. You're hurting them. You guys are hurting them. You guys are exposing your kids to this raunchy secular music. Why is you guys' 5-year-old's daughter singing Pound Town?
Why?
Showing up to a school smelling like weed, nuclear gold, and that tape leak. Bruh, anyone with a working brain knows that wasn't an accident. The timing was too perfect. The rollout was too aligned. The attention spike was too convenient. And guess what? It worked. The numbers went crazy. Her mistakes were moving like marketing tools. Her controversies were acting like commercials. Nothing slowed her down because everything played into the persona they wanted. Shocking, chaotic, sexual, unfiltered, the exact product they were selling. You don't get punished when you're doing exactly what the machine wants you to do. Now this is where the story flips from rapper blew up to, oh nah, this was coordinated. Gamma didn't just work with Sexyy Red, they launched her like a tech product. Larry Jackson, former Apple Music global creative director, left one of the most powerful music platforms on earth, and suddenly Sexyy Red is getting industry grade distribution, TikTok dominance, and playlisting like she came out the womb with an iPhone contract.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Bruh, Apple level connections don't just sprinkle themselves over new artists because they're funny and ratchet. This man had access to the top editors, algorithm specialists, label executives, TikTok partnership teams. So when Gamma took over her distribution, everything escalated instantly. And remember, Gamma wasn't some broke startup. They dropped out the sky with $1 billion ready to shape black culture. $1 billion to influence culture?
Complicated, so pay attention.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm paying attention. When you see a machine like Gamma behind somebody, it ain't an accident. It's a project, a case study, a cultural investment with an expected return. And here's the part everybody conveniently skips over. That $1 billion Gamma bragged about? Yeah, that didn't come from the culture. The main investor was Todd Boehly, a white billionaire who owns the LA Dodgers and Chelsea Football Club. So now pause. A white billionaire worth almost $9 billion funding a company meant to shape black culture through artists like Sexyy Red. And y'all don't see the game? This man don't know nothing about the environments that created hip hop. He don't know the women, he don't know the struggle, he don't know the trauma, he don't know the stereotypes that ruin lives.
You don't know nothing about us.
But he does know which images generate profit. He does know shock sells. He does know dysfunction goes viral. And when billionaires put money behind something, they ain't betting on empowerment. They're betting on engagement, controversy, and control. The Sexyy Red brand was profitable because it was outrageous, and billionaires love outrageous when it passed their pockets. Now let's really talk, because this ain't new. Ice Cube been telling y'all this shit. Labels don't walk in rooms telling artists what to say. They don't gotta. They just make sure the most destructive messages are the ones that get through the gate.
Let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. Record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this.
Songs about healing, songs about unity, songs about discipline, songs about self-worth. Yeah, those don't fit the playlist. But lyrics about sex, chaos, disrespect, violence, dysfunction, oh yeah, that gets greenlit immediately. And Sexyy Red fit the algorithm of destruction perfectly. Highly sexual? Check. No filter? Check. Chaos magnet? Check. Children accidentally consuming the content? Double check. This is what Ice Cube meant by guardrails. Not controlling artists, but controlling the path their content travels. And don't forget Candace Owens pointing out the same thing. Billions of dollars behind dysfunction disguised as representation.
There's another headline. This one is in Afro Tech News. It reads,
Larry Jackson is on a mission to put $1 billion to work in favor of Black culture with his startup Gamma. In favor of Black culture, he's the face.
They weren't pushing Sexyy Red to uplift Black women. They were pushing her because they knew she'd trigger people, go viral, and spark controversy. And controversy equals money. Money equals leverage. Leverage equals social engineering. And this is the part where I realized the game was dirty. They didn't market Sexyy Red like an artist. They marketed her like a spectacle, a walking meme, an algorithm trap. Her music wasn't the product. Her behavior was the product. Showing up to a school smelling like weed, the labels didn't care. It boosted the persona. Cussing out a ballet teacher for protecting kids didn't matter. It fed the character. Leaking her own tape, then pretending it was accidental? Please, bruh. That was a brand moment. In today's industry, talent ain't the selling point. Extremes are. People are desensitized. You gotta yell louder, do wilder stuff, push crazier imagery just to be noticed.
Go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy.
Sexyy Red wasn't chosen for her voice. She was chosen because she could go further than anybody else without questioning anything. And when the industry sees someone willing to go that far, they don't guide them. They don't protect them. They exploit them.
No more protecting them.
Because the extreme becomes the identity, and the identity becomes the profit. Here's something the industry didn't predict. Parents got fed up. When 5-year-olds were walking around singing Pound Town like it was the ABCs, that's when moms started going, nah, this ain't cute anymore. The teacher situation wasn't just a viral moment. It was a warning shot. Parents started blocking her music. Schools started complaining. Moms on TikTok started asking why sexual content was reaching their toddlers. And this is where labels panic. Because when parents push back, algorithms adjust. Algorithms don't like drama that messes with ad revenue. And once the family audience turned its back on her, that cut off a huge chunk of her reach. Because artists like Sexyy Red rely on chaos, but the machine relies on mass appeal. If the moms ain't vibing, if the kids ain't dancing, if the schools ain't playing along, the whole foundation starts cracking. Another thing the industry didn't calculate, other female rappers quietly passed her without the circus. Ice Spice kept it cute, Lotto stayed polished, Doja's weird, but she's talented. Cardi has personality plus hits, Nicki is an institution, and all of a sudden, Sexyy Red wasn't the new it girl anymore. Because here's the truth, shock value gets you in the door, but longevity requires something real. When labels saw other women getting numbers without leaking tapes, without insulting their own fan base, without smoking out of school, they started going, maybe we can invest our budget somewhere less chaotic. The moment other artists proved you can win without destroying yourself, Sexyy Red's value dropped internally. That's when you see fewer playlist placements, fewer collaborations, fewer sponsor pushes, fewer live appearances. Not because she fell off, but because she wasn't the best investment anymore. This is the saddest part of the whole thing. Sexyy Red was built to ride the wave, not survive after it crashes. She didn't come in with a solid musical foundation. She didn't come in with a message. She didn't come in with community ties. The machine was her foundation. And when the machine moves on,
She lost.
artists like her get exposed instantly. Because here's the truth nobody likes to say. When your whole career depends on being shocking, your career ends the moment the audience gets bored. And when your whole identity is a stereotype the industry created, you don't have anything to fall back on. She wasn't built like Missy. She wasn't built like Megan. She wasn't built like Nicki. She wasn't built like Lauren. She was built like a seasonal product, a limited time item the industry tests on the public, profits from, then quietly phases out when the hype fades. And that's exactly what we're watching happen right now. Not a scandal, not a downfall, just the end of a corporate experiment that stopped being useful.
Damn!
Here's the part nobody inside the industry will admit publicly. Shock marketing used to work, but now people are tired, exhausted, burnt out from chaos. Every week it's a new scandal, a new distraction, a new outrage moment, and audiences started going, bruh, can we just breathe?
Breathe air!
Sexyy Red wasn't just too wild. She came at a time when the world was overstimulated, over-triggered, over-scrolled. So while Gamma kept pushing her persona harder and harder, the public was moving in the opposite direction. Spirituality rising, therapy rising, self-awareness rising, parents getting protective, women calling out stereotypes, people detoxing from social media. So the more extreme she got, the more she repelled the very audience they were banking on. And labels hate when a strategy starts backfiring, because backfiring means losing money. This is something the industry always gets wrong. Culture moves in cycles, and the cycle of ratchet goes viral was already dying when Sexyy Red hit her peak. You know what people wanted instead? Softness, femininity, healing, mental health, artistry, intention, women uplifting each other instead of clowning themselves. But Sexyy Red's whole image was built on the opposite. She couldn't pivot. She couldn't evolve, because you can't suddenly rebrand into self-love when your entire persona was engineered around shock, disrespect, sexual chaos, and reinforcing stereotypes. Other artists adapted. She didn't. Not because she didn't want to, but because her brand wasn't designed to grow. The machine built her for hype, not longevity. And culture moved on without waiting for her to catch up. Let me say this clearly, because this is the real core of the whole situation. Sexyy Red was a test subject, a prototype, a sample size for the next wave of cultural manipulation. They wanted to see, how far can we push dysfunction before people push back? How sexual can we make a black female artist before the audience snaps? How disrespectful can we let things get before parents revolt? How fast can we engineer virality? How easy is it to control the culture through one personality? She was the experiment. We were the data points. And the results? The public finally hit the limit. People got conscious. People got spiritual. People got protective over black women. People started calling out stereotypes instead of celebrating them. People started realizing the music industry is playing chess with our identity. And that is why the experiment failed. Not because Sexyy Red did anything different, but because we finally woke up. Look, man, when you zoom out, this whole thing stops being a story about Sexyy Red, and it becomes a story about us, about what we consume, what we normalize, what we defend, and what we call representation just because it's loud enough to get pushed to the front. And I ain't gonna lie, watching her rise was entertaining, but watching the fallout, that part low-key hurt. Because you can see how the industry does certain artists. They hype them up, turn them into a spectacle, drain every ounce of attention from them, then toss them aside the second the chaos stops producing clicks. That's not culture. That's harvesting. That's human exploitation disguised as viral fun. And deeper than that, black women deserve more than this tired stereotype being recycled every decade. Kids deserve better examples than algorithms feeding them dysfunction like it's a personality trait. And we deserve an industry that stops treating our entire identity like a marketing strategy. So yeah, the Sexyy Red experiment failed, not because she lost momentum, but because the culture finally hit its limit. And I hope the people in those boardrooms felt that shift. Because if we stop letting billionaires decide what black culture looks like, that's when everything changes. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the experiment didn't fail. Maybe this is just the beginning of something even messier. You tell me, did the industry use Sexyy Red, or did they just expose themselves? Drop your thoughts below. I'm reading everything. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, go watch the video that just popped up on your screen right now. It connects perfectly with this one. I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.